The galaxy had always thought humans were weak. They were a small species, young in space, and full of emotions. The Galactic Council, a powerful assembly of elder species, considered humans fragile. They believed fear and rules could control them, but they were wrong. On the edge of human space, a small colony called Vance Settlement floated quietly on a barren planet. Its people worked hard, mining minerals and building machines. Among them was 12-year-old Elara Vance. She was not a fighter. She loved tinkering with machines, helping her parents, and looking at the stars. One ordinary morning, everything changed. Council ships appeared in the sky, massive and cold, their weapons already armed. Peacekeepers stormed the settlement. They accused the humans of breaking rules, claiming the colony was illegal. No warnings, no negotiations. Elara was caught in the chaos. She did not understand why strangers were hurting her family. She screamed, but it did not matter. The peacekeepers dragged her onto a ship, leaving the colony in flames behind. The council called it an example. They believed humans would surrender if they saw one child suffer. They did not know humans. In the ship's cold, sterile chamber, Elara was questioned. Machines beeped and hummed. Council species watched her with their cold eyes. They wanted her to break. They wanted her to cry. Elara did not cry. She did not beg. She asked one simple question. Why are you afraid of us? It echoed through the chamber. It reached the ears of soldiers who had only followed orders. It reached the hearts of those who had long felt weak under the council's rule. Meanwhile, one small maintenance worker, a member of a minor species oppressed by the council, watched everything. He knew what would happen if the footage went out. He knew humans might react. But he sent it anyway. Pieces of the interrogation, Elara's brave words, spread across human networks. The reaction was immediate. Across planets, screens flickered with her image. Parents held their children tighter. Soldiers clenched their fists. Governments stopped arguing about politics. Humanity's unity, once fragile, grew stronger in a heartbeat. The council expected negotiations. They expected apologies. They expected fear. They expected humans to obey. They got none of it. Leaders on Earth and the colonies convened. For the first time in history, humanity spoke as one. Fleet commands were issued. Mining vessels, transport ships, even civilian craft were retrofitted for war. Humanity had always built machines to create and explore. Now those machines would protect them and punish anyone who dared harm one of their own. The council laughed at the human response at first. They are emotional, they said. They will tire. They did not understand that humans were not just emotional. They were stubborn, adaptive, and unforgiving when it came to their children. Elara remained locked in the ship, unaware of the storm growing across the galaxy. But she did not break. Her courage became the spark that lit a fire humanity had never known. As humans prepared their fleet, their ships gleamed under the light of distant suns. Engineers, soldiers, and ordinary citizens worked side by side. No one questioned the plan. No one hesitated. For the first time, humans were united. For the first time, the galaxy would see them not as weak, but as a force that could not be ignored. The council had made one mistake. They had tested the wrong species. And soon, they would pay for it. Cliffhanger. Across the galaxy, human fleets assembled. And for the first time in history, one species spoke with a single voice. Return our child, or we burn every world that stands in our way. Humanity did not hesitate. Across planets and colonies, fleets assembled faster than any species had seen before. Ships of every size, mining vessels, cargo transports, even old exploration crafts, were transformed into war machines. Engineers added weapons, shields, and engines that burned hotter than the suns of their home systems. Every human knew what they were fighting for, Elara. The council dismissed the human mobilization at first. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, elder species laughed at the idea of humans retaliating. They are weak, they said. Emotional. Fragile. They cannot strike across the stars. But they were wrong. Human ships moved like a storm through the void. They were not elegant like council vessels, but they were clever, adaptive, and relentless. Humans coordinated attacks that seemed impossible. Fleets split and merged, striking at the council's weak points while avoiding the strongest defenses. Every maneuver was precise. Every strike was calculated. The first skirmishes shocked the galaxy. A council patrol fleet, twice the size of a human armada, was destroyed in minutes. Sensors and communication networks failed under human attacks. Planets that had never seen war erupted in alarms. The council species began to realize their mistake. They had underestimated humans. Back on the flagship where Elara was held, cracks appeared in the council's confidence. Some lower-ranked species whispered to each other, questioning the leadership. They had spent centuries under the council's rules, fearing humans as weak and harmless. Now, the humans were everywhere, and the fear that had once kept the galaxy in line was turning inward. Elara, still trapped in the cold chamber, listened to the distant sounds of battle through the ship's walls. She did not scream or panic. She only hoped that her people would win, that they would come for her. Her calm, her courage, had become a symbol for every human fighting across the stars. As human fleets advanced, they sent one clear message to the council: return the child, or all your worlds burn. Humanity responded with force. Weapons designed to destabilize planetary cores, once meant for mining operations, were now adapted for war. Terraforming engines that had built life on barren planets were turned into tools of destruction. Humanity was not fighting for land or resources. They were fighting for justice, for the child, and for the principle that no one could harm a human without consequences. One by one, council worlds felt the human fury. Cities burned. Military installations collapsed. Command centers went dark. The message was clear. The council's power, once absolute, was no longer unchallenged. Even among the council's ranks, some began to doubt. Could they have truly misjudged humans? Could a single species rise so quickly, so decisively, simply to protect one child? They remembered their history of conquering older, larger civilizations. They had ruled through fear, through control. But this was different. Humanity was united, focused, and unstoppable. On the edges of the battle, human commanders spoke quietly among themselves. They did not fight for glory. They did not seek revenge beyond justice. Every strike, every maneuver, was for the child who had been taken from them. Humanity's rage was tempered by reason, and their precision was terrifying. The council fleets could not predict humanity's moves. The humans did not follow traditional battle patterns. They improvised, adapted, and struck where the council was weakest. Every corner of the galaxy learned the same lesson. Humans were not just survivors. They were warriors when provoked, and they would protect their own at any cost. And so the war had truly begun. Humanity, once underestimated, was now a force that would not be ignored. The council had made one fatal mistake. They had underestimated what it meant to hurt a human child. Cliffhanger. As human fleets approached the flagship where Elara was held, a council general whispered, terrified, "They are coming for the child, and nothing will stop them." The first council world burned in silence. Humanity did not strike blindly. They gave evacuation warnings, allowing civilians to escape. Their fight was not against innocent lives. It was against those who had caused pain, those who had hurt Elara. Yet, as the fires consumed the industrial zones and government centers, the galaxy saw a force unlike any it had ever seen. Elara was still trapped aboard the flagship, unaware that the humans were closing in. Soldiers of minor species, who had long suffered under the council's rule, watched the destruction from their own worlds. They whispered about the humans, how they could strike without hesitation, yet with purpose. For the first time, hope spread across the oppressed species. The council scrambled. Their fleets, once confident and untouchable, were now fragmented. Messages of panic spread through their communication networks. No one had expected humans to move so fast, so precisely. Their worlds were being destroyed, and their authority was crumbling. Elara, Inside her cold chamber, could hear faint alarms from the ship. She did not panic. Instead, she thought of her people, of the humans who had promised to come for her. She believed they would not fail. And she was right. Human fleets bypassed the main battles when it suited them, striking at command hubs and disabling key systems. Entire planets were cut off from the Council's network in moments. The humans had studied the enemy for decades, learning their weaknesses. Now, their preparation paid off in a way no one could ignore. One fleet, led by Admiral Kale, targeted the flagship where Elara was held. The battle was precise. Human ships moved like one organism, dodging energy blasts and cutting through defenses with surgical strikes. Shields faltered, systems failed, and then the boarding teams deployed. Inside the flagship, chaos erupted. Council guards tried to maintain control, but humans were everywhere. They moved quickly, silently, and with purpose. Every corner of the ship was cleared, every obstacle removed. Their goal was not revenge, it was rescue. Finally, Elara's door was opened. She stepped out into the light of humans she had never met, yet somehow trusted. Their commander knelt and spoke softly. "You are safe now." Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled. Humanity had not just come for her. They had come for justice, and they had brought it in full force. Across the galaxy, the other Council worlds saw what had happened. The symbol of human courage, the child, was now free. Rumors of humans burning worlds in retaliation spread, not as fear alone, but as inspiration. Species, long oppressed by the Council, began to rise, quietly at first, then openly. Resistance networks activated. Rebel fleets mobilized. The Council had ruled through fear for centuries. Now they faced a species that feared nothing when it came to protecting its own, and the Council realized something terrifying. Humans were not just fighters. They were clever, adaptive, and unstoppable. Yet, the humans did not stop with Elara's rescue. They continued to dismantle the Council's command structures. They destroyed warships, disabled energy networks, and erased systems that had kept planets under control for generations. Humanity had not only burned cities, they had burned the idea that the Council could rule without challenge. Even as victories piled up, the human commanders remained focused. Their fleets struck carefully, avoiding unnecessary casualties. Every move was planned to protect life where possible, while punishing those who had abused it. And then, from the depths of the galaxy, the core Council species made their last move. Their superweapon, an ancient device of unimaginable power, began to hum with energy, aimed at Earth itself. The message was clear. If they could not control humanity, they would destroy it. For the first time, humans hesitated, not out of fear, but out of calculation. The final choice would define the species forever. Cliffhanger. Humanity had saved Elara, burned Council worlds, and shattered their authority. But a superweapon aimed at Earth now threatened everything they had fought to protect. The final battle was about to begin. The superweapon loomed over Earth like a dark star. Its energy drew from the sun of the Council's homeworld, a power that could erase an entire planet in seconds. Council leaders watched confidently, believing humanity would surrender. They had underestimated humans before. This time, they would see their final mistake. Human commanders gathered in orbit around the fleet. Ships floated silently, engines humming with power. Every vessel, from massive carriers to small scout ships, had a single purpose: stop the superweapon. Casualties would come, but failure was not an option. Elara, now safe aboard a medical frigate, watched quietly. Her small hands rested on the railing as she listened to the adults' plan. She had been the spark, but now humanity was the fire, and she understood one thing clearly. The Council would not stop. They would try to destroy everything humanity loved. The human strategy was daring. They would not attack the superweapon directly. It was too powerful. Instead, they aimed to overload its control nodes, the points that regulated its energy. The mission was near suicidal. One mistake could destroy Earth, or worse, turn the weapon against them. immediately. Pilots strapped in, engineers double-checked their systems, and soldiers prepared boarding teams. Humanity moved with quiet precision. No one spoke of fear, only duty. Across millions of miles, the fleet aligned perfectly, ready to strike in synchronized waves. The Council's homeworld watched. Its leaders believed their centuries of rule had taught them control. Their arrogance blinded them. They had faced wars before, but never had a species fought for justice, for a child, for the right to survive, and done so with both precision and mercy. Alara's voice echoed through the comms. She addressed the fleet, small but firm. We cannot become like them. We fight for justice, not hate. We protect life, even as we fight. Her words reminded humanity of what they were defending. They were not conquerors. They were not vengeful. They were protectors, united by courage and compassion. The strike began. Ships darted in and out of firing arcs, dodging energy beams, weaving between planetary defenses. Boarding teams hit the control nodes, moving with silent speed, disabling systems one by one. Explosions shook the outer layers of the planet, but humanity's focus never wavered. One by one, the nodes fell. The weapon's energy fluctuated dangerously. Panic spread among the Council leaders as their ancient superweapon began to destabilize. They shouted orders, but humanity ignored the chaos. They were too precise, too coordinated. Finally, the main control node exploded. Energy feedback surged, but human ships had pulled back. Seconds later, the superweapon powered down completely. Earth was safe. Humanity had won. The Council leadership was captured. For the first time in history, they faced justice without fear of retaliation. Humanity did not destroy them. They did not enslave them. They dismantled the Council and replaced it with a coalition built on law, fairness, and mutual protection. Alara stood on the bridge as the fleet returned home. She looked at the stars and smiled, knowing she had been the spark that ignited something larger than any single world. Humanity had shown the galaxy that strength was not cruelty, and power was not oppression. Across the galaxy, oppressed species whispered hope. They spoke of humans who fought for a child, who burned fear, not life, and who rose as protectors. A new era had begun, one where no species could hurt another without consequences. Years later, in the rebuilt Galactic Assembly, a statue stood, not of a soldier, not of a fleet, but of a child who refused to beg. Her small hands were open, reaching toward the stars, reminding all that courage could change the fate of the galaxy. The galaxy learned a simple truth. Humans are gentle until you hurt their children. And no force, no council, no ancient weapon could stand against their unity and courage. Ending note. Humanity had won the war, saved their child, and reshaped the galaxy. They had burned fear, protected life, and shown that even the smallest spark could light a fire that changed the universe.